But it's not just about the mental and emotional effects of excessive screen time. It's also about what screens are crowding out. Those essential activities like outdoor play, face-to-face social interactions, unstructured, creative play, and even restful sleep. These are the building blocks of a healthy development in childhood. Hello and welcome to Blooming Curious, the podcast that's all about nurturing that natural curiosity and love of learning in our elementary children and students. I'm Edwina, your host, and I'm on a mission to keep children curious and excited about learning. The days of talk and chalk are over. We're exploring the strategies that create engaged, lifelong learners. So if you're a classroom or homeschool educator, or even a curious parent looking for creative, meaningful ways to engage children and move beyond the traditional classroom approach, then this is the place for you. Hello and welcome to another episode of Blooming Curious. Today is the last episode for 2024 since I'll be taking December off to focus on new projects and offerings for 2025. And just so that I can get off this hamster wheel for a little while to focus on creating content that serves you and moves you forward. Today, I want to talk about a topic that really affects all of us, and that is technology and its impact on children's development. This episode is inspired by Jonathan Haidt's book, I think that's how you pronounce his name, The Anxious Generation, which explores how technology, particularly social media, is reshaping childhood. But we're not here today to dwell on all the doom and gloom. Instead, what I want to do is look at how we can move beyond the guilt, because everywhere on social media and the posts I see, I think a lot of people have a lot of guilt around this. What we want to do today is actually look at ways to solve the problem and embrace some creative, proactive, and meaningful ways that we can offer our children as alternatives to screens. Now, whether you're a parent or a teacher and you're looking for ways to better connect with children, or you're just looking at ways to foster that curiosity and creativity that's so important in our children, then today's episode is going to give you practical strategies that help you nurture the social, emotional, and physical growth of the children in your care. So let's first look at why this conversation actually matters. The research is very clear, and it shows us that excessive screen time, especially when it comes to social media and video games, can impact children's developing brains negatively. It's linked to short attention spans, difficulty regulating emotions, and even an increase in anxiety and depression. In fact, in his book, Haidt points out that the rise of smartphones and social media directly correlates with a significant uptick in mental health challenges, specifically among teenagers. But it's not just about the mental and emotional effects of excessive screen time. It's also about what screens are crowding out. Those essential activities like outdoor play, face-to-face social interactions, unstructured, creative play, and even restful sleep. These are the building blocks of a healthy development in childhood. And as Jonathan Haidt points out, we're seeing a troubling rise in anxiety and depression among young people. And technology plays a role in this. But it's not the only factor, but it is significant. So how do we as parents and educators shift into action and focus on how we can intentionally create alternatives that draw children's attention away from screens and towards activities that ignite their curiosity and engage their whole selves? I actually also have a freebie for you that I'll tell you about at the end of the episode that's perfect for the upcoming holidays to get kids off screens. So hang around to hear about that. So here are a few ideas to inspire you. And each of these ideas are not just good for kids, but they're good for you too, because let's face it, technology has its grips on adults too. So if you take just one of these ideas that I'll be sharing today, you will be doing your own mental health a massive favor too. So the first idea I'm going to give you is to engage with nature. Research shows us time and time again that time spent in nature reduces stress, it improves focus, and boosts creativity. Plus, extra bonus, it's free. Nature offers us endless opportunities for exploration and curiosity. It's one of the most powerful antidotes to screen time. A simple walk in a park or creating a garden, even if you don't have the space, you can actually just create a window box or plant something in a pot and allow children to also explore their backyard. Or if you don't have a garden, take a trip to your nearest park or beach and encourage observation by giving kids tools like magnifying glasses and binoculars or bug jars, just to get them and encourage them to explore and discover. And if you're an educator, consider incorporating nature-based activities into your lessons. Think about nature scavenger hunts or journaling or outdoor STEM challenges. I have several conversations on this podcast with outdoor teaching experts that I'll link for you in the show notes so you can get more ideas for outdoor learning there. Number 2 is to reignite some family and classroom traditions. Now, strong traditions create meaningful connections and memories. At home, you can create things like a weekly game night with board games or card games. Kids love games, and these kinds of activities encourage teamwork and problem solving. And I know that for many of you, you probably think a game is so lame because, a screen is so much more exciting. Is it perhaps more exciting to scroll through your Facebook or through your Instagram than sitting with a child playing a board game? Well, putting aside that phone or your screen for just those few minutes is really going to give you endless benefits, not just for your children, but for your relationship with them too. In a classroom, you can also set up screen-free days, and you can introduce hands-on activities like crafts or cooking or collaborative STEM challenges. I know from experience that when you introduce specific days where children can engage in hands-on activities, it becomes something that they really look forward to. And it's the same in the home. Number 3 is open-ended creative play opportunities. Children thrive when they're given the freedom to play and create on their own. And in his book, Jonathan Haidt talks about the downside of controlling every aspect of children's lives. They need a little bit of freedom to do their own thing for their own autonomy. So provide open-ended toys like building blocks or art supplies or even recycled materials for them to create their own worlds. And if you're worried about a mess, put a blanket out or an old sheet and allow them the freedom to play and create without interference or guidance from you. It frees up your time too, but it allows them that freedom that they desperately want to explore and grow on their own. And for teachers, you can consider setting up some intriguing provocations or pose a question to spark inquiry-based learning. I'll link to episodes and posts I have on the blog that talk about provocations in the show notes for you. Number 4 is to create shared reading experiences. Reading is a screen-free activity that fosters connection and curiosity. Reading together is a wonderful way to bond while building literacy skills. At home, read as a family. Pick books that spark questions and discussions and let your kids take turn picking stories. And in schools, teachers can try reading circles with stories that provoke discussions or use picture books as a jumping off point for inquiry-based learning. Ask your students, what do they wonder about in the story, and use these ideas to shape your lessons. So often as a teacher, I deal with kids where we're helping them with reading, and when I say to them, "Are you reading with your mum and dad?" they'll often say to me, "No, my mum's too busy to read to me," or "My mum's on her phone all the time." And I'm not just saying this to make you feel guilty. I'm telling you this because this is what children are saying and experiencing. So finding moments where you can actually just sit for 5 minutes or 10 minutes with your child, reading with them, to them, really goes a long way. Not just practicing their reading, but also the bond in your relationship. Number 5 is to introduce mindfulness and emotional regulation. This is a biggie nowadays because we're finding more and more that children really struggle with emotional regulation. Mostly and very often because screens overstimulate children and it leaves them feeling restless and irritable. You only need to see what it's like if a child's been spending a lot of time on an iPad and now you want to take the device away. That is the ultimate provocation for a meltdown. So yes, screens do overstimulate children and does leave them feeling restless and irritable. And mindfulness can actually help them to regain some balance. Now, this doesn't mean that you're going to grab away the iPad and then stick some kind of, and get them to breathe deeply. I mean, that's just ridiculous and not going to work. Mindfulness can help children regain their balance. You can replace screen time with short mindfulness exercises like deep breathing or things like gratitude journals where kids can write or draw something that they're grateful for each day. These practices not only reduce screen dependency, but they also build emotional regulation and resilience. Now, I've actually joined up with Big Life Journal. I'm sure you've seen them around on social media. And if you're looking for meaningful holiday gifts for your kids this season, Big Life Journal has award-winning psychologist-backed products that help build confidence and resilience in children and teens. They've got things like journals and conversation cards and affirmation cards, all designed to inspire growth and positivity. So check out their store for amazing gift ideas. I leave my affiliate link for you in the show notes, which means that I earn a small commission if you decide to buy through my link at no extra cost to you. And right now they have a sale on, so click on that link, which I'll leave in the show notes, and get a great mindfulness regulation tool for your children. Number 6 is to prioritize connection through shared projects. You can work on a project together. Things like baking, especially now with the holiday season where you could bake gingerbread men or Christmas cake or build something like a birdhouse or an insect hotel or just do a puzzle together. It's not about the end product. It's just about that shared experience, that connection. In schools, you can work on collaborative group projects like creating a class mural or planning a school garden, and you can build teamwork or creativity into your lessons while giving students this amazing sense of accomplishment. Now, I know that all of this sounds great in theory, and let's be honest, I know it's not easy. Screens are convenient, and in some cases, they might feel like a lifeline. But even just small steps can make a big difference. Just start with one small adjustment. Designate one tech-free evening a week or a tech-free weekend challenge. Or swap 30 minutes of screen time with a hands-on activity. Or set up a cozy reading nook in your home or your classroom where you make books and reading more inviting. And then celebrate those wins, however small they are, because over time, those small shifts can lead to significant changes that strengthen those essential developmental foundations in our children. And remember, as adults, we set the tone. I know I see all these responses on social media where it's hard for us to be critical of ourselves and say, you know what, actually, it's up to me. I am the driving force. I am in charge. What I say goes. We are the models, whether we like it or not. Children take their cues from us. And if we prioritize connection and curiosity and creativity, they will too. It isn't about being perfect, but it is about being intentional and proactively replacing screen time with alternative engaging activities. It's about enriching not only our children's lives, but our own too, and our relationship and the bonds we have with our children. I hope that today's episode has sparked some ideas and encouragement for you to reduce screen time. If you're a parent or you're an educator, I'd love to hear how you're tackling this challenge in your own home and classroom. So share your thoughts with me on social media. I'll leave a link in my show notes, or just send me an email at contact@bloomingcurious.com. I'd love to hear from you. Now, earlier in the episode, I mentioned that I have a freebie for you. It's a free download with 24 alternatives to screens, which you can download for free, stick it on your fridge these holidays, and tick off each activity as you complete it. I'll leave a link in the show notes. And don't forget to click on the episode website to get all the links mentioned in this episode, including my newsletter, Get Curious, for weekly tips and inspiration to get your kids and yourself engaged and motivated. Thanks for listening. Have a blessed Christmas and a happy holiday, and I'll see you back here on Blooming Curious in January with an exciting lineup of new guests and topics to inspire and ignite your passion. And until then, stay safe and stay blooming curious.